Welcome to the village.
He is extraordinarily thoughtful. Maybe it's more mindful. I think Jack has never known a life without women henpecking him. He has a sister 3 years older than him. I say this constantly. The woman who is lucky enough to end up with this man as her lifetime person is the luckiest human being alive, because living with an older sister who is at you constantly, and the dynamic of a mom and a sister all the time, the emotions, the hormones, the mood swings.
Yeah.
And he either has found a way to deal with it, compartmentalize it, and figure it out, or to ignore it. Both of which are effective.
What do you think? Do you even
how do you
know this is happening? The women thing? Something you think about?
I mean, with my sister, a lot of it is like just a sibling relationship. I know a lot of people don't have great relationships with their siblings. Me and Molly do like fight a little bit. We do have our times where it's back and forth. But I can always count on her for everything, so I try to do the same for her. There was a time, it was senior prank night for our high school, and one of my friends brought me, and he went home, and then I didn't have a ride back home, and she came and picked me up at 3 a.m. with a sweatshirt, sweatpants, and just to make sure that I was fine, which is a lot to do. I kind of just, all I needed was a ride home, but she did that she wanted to be thoughtful, so I try and pick up on the little things like that.
You obviously didn't take it for granted because it's something you remember.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to know. That was kind of the switch in my head that I knew no matter what happens, she would be there for me.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of times like that where she did that, and I kind of just she's my sister, she'll come pick me up.
But you appreciate it. That's also rare. There'll be siblings. We have fairly close in age. There'll be a girl and a boy. I know other siblings like that, but there's not always that best friendship.
I lost a brother. And so from the time they were little, I tried to really, really drive home for them. Your sibling is a gift. You're not always going to get along. You're not always going to agree. But the two of you are the only two that know your whole history, your whole life, that understand why you are who you are. They can pick on each other mercilessly, and they can hate on each other, but they always show up for one another. Mm-hmm. 3 of us have had a lot of stuff happen. The one thing that the 3 of us have is we always show up. The 2 of them do. They show up for each other. And I think the very best thing about the 2 of them, they will show up, and neither one of them holds it above the other's head.
Yeah.
There's no I did this for you. They just show up for each other.
Because they're doing it for themselves too, because they need to give the love. She did it because she needed to be there.
They care. And it's kind of funny. They always say sisters have to worry about how their brothers feel about the boyfriend, whatever. It is not. Jack's girlfriends have a much harder time with his sister. She is much more overprotective, difficult. He will be her baby until the day she dies. No matter how big he gets, he is so much bigger and so much stronger and so much, more than her. She will always think of him as her baby.
But also forever. As a friend, too, right? It seems do you feel like a friendship now with her? My mom always told me and my sister would fight. We'd have these horrible sister fights. We were also very close. We can fight with each other, but nobody better say anything or fight with my sister kind of attitude. And my mom would always say when we were having a fight, a lot of times she wouldn't care it was right and wrong. She was just you two shouldn't fight because you only have each other. Mm-hmm. That's what it boils down to. And that would help sometimes because we'd be oh, yeah, that's true. I don't like anybody else. So.
Yeah. Well, I think too for them, sometimes, listen, let's face it, you don't always like your mom, right? You just don't. I'm not doing my job if they always like me all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to put your foot down. Sometimes you have to make decisions that nobody likes. Sometimes you have to be the person that nobody likes. I like that they have each other to sort of commiserate with, because both of them understand me. And they both can kind of relate to one another about, this is how mom is, or this is,
It's interesting to have the same set of parents, right? Because no one can relate to that experience except for your sibling.
Yeah.
The other thing I was wondering about, because this is constantly coming up, is a topic with mental health. You seem like you said, you're fine with the pandemic. You enjoyed it. You enjoy activities. You enjoy a lot of things. But are you seeing this around you? Are you seeing... I just kind of switched the topic. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because we're just like hitting topics.
Yeah.
So do you see this around? It's such a like hot topic. Mental health and kids and depressed adolescents and depressed teenagers and even younger kids with the anxieties. And there's so many theories as to why it is, with social media or with the pandemic itself. But even pre-pandemic, there's like the screens and the blue screen. And I mean, you're on the baseball team, so you see kids that are active and have other things to do. But what are you seeing with this?
I understand like stuff goes on with closed doors, I guess. Like there's definitely times where like I'm sad about something or like I'm upset and most people probably don't know about it. Like there's times where I'm upset and she doesn't even know about it. And I try and do my best. Like if I notice one of my friends has something going on, like I try and let them know that I know we're guys because we make fun of each other about stupid stuff. But if you need anything, you can always come to me about it. And most people don't, but it's like, it's good to know that if they did need somebody to talk to, I would be there for them and they know that.
I'm so moved right now that he said that, because that's what they try to say, right? Let somebody know that somebody does care about you. Because isn't that the biggest thing with suicide and depression? You feel like no one would miss you if you were gone. You were alone. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But for that one person to say, I would listen to you if you needed me.
Well, when you're in a bad way or something awful is happening to you, which is, one, totally normal. Everybody has to deal with like awful things happening to them, overwhelming things, emotional things. You really don't stop to think like other people ever feel this way. You are so in your own mind and in your own bad way that you just think this is all you. And it's very easy to feel like this is never going to get better. How am I going to like get through this? This feels like the end of the world. I am so sad. I think that even as an adult, when you have one person who's like, I get it. I have my own stuff. Maybe it's not the same stuff making us feel like crap.
Yeah.
But I have my own stuff. And so I can relate to how you feel like total garbage. But it's a bad day, not a bad life. It's a bad day.
Yeah.
No matter how overwhelming it feels, there's always some kind of a solution. There's nothing that's happening that's the end of the world. There's always some kind of solution. There's always some kind of answer. There will be a way to make it better.
If every kid or every person were to reach out to one person, I think we'd be pretty covered. There wouldn't have to be these people who just feel so left out of life. To like just say that line, that sentence, because we're so busy scrolling through Facebook and seeing all these fake happy profiles that
it's very easy to feel like people can't possibly feel as awful as you feel.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with you that you don't have this 10 out of 10 life every minute of the day? And why is college feel so hard? Mm-hmm. And why is this feel so hard? Why is it so awful to have $100 in your bank account when you need 500? Or why is it that you're freaking starving and you have a crappy college meal in front of you? Mm-hmm. And why is it that there's something that maybe you really need to tell your mom and you don't want to tell her because you don't want to upset her or disappoint her or your dad? There's a million things. And I think that if you're someone who can, thank God he's someone who can reach out to his friends and be like, I'm there. Like I have those days too. Because I know for me, we kind of have like this little thing. He doesn't like to quote unquote burden me with his answer is, I'm always fine. I can handle anything. I kind of push him a little bit, but that's always his answer to me. Every once in a while, I'll get a message that's like, Mom, I kind of want some of your cookies. To me, that's sort of his way of saying like, I just sort of maybe need a little boost from my mom. Maybe not necessarily saying anything, doing anything, but I think even at 46 years old, sometimes I just need my mom.
Oh, me too.
There is no person on the entire planet that loves you the way your mother does. If you're having the crappiest day, even if he doesn't want to tell me what that day is, if he just needs to spend 20 minutes with his mom to feel like, okay, I remember that like everything is okay. I have this person. This is what's normal. This is the constant in my life. There was one day where he's like, I'm kind of craving cookies and I'm really hungry for mac and cheese. And I was like, okay, I can be there in 2 hours. You know?
You went there?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness.
I made him some homemade mac and cheese and some chocolate chip cookies.
Room?
Oh, I made it at home and I drove it out to
him.
No, I drove it to him.
I just heard that wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, did they have like a little kitchenette thing in your room?
Yeah, I didn't use it.
So she could have made.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I made him goodies at home, but I felt like, you know what? Maybe he just needs.
I want a goodie now.
Maybe he just needs a couple of minutes to like, I don't know. Sometimes life feels less overwhelming if you spend a little bit of time in this place where you know you're with someone where you're not questioning their motives. You're not questioning everything that's happening. You're not questioning, what am I doing here? Why am I going through this? Why is this so hard? What is all this for? You're just with somebody who you're like, okay, this is normal. I know this person loves me. I know that I can trust them with whatever I say. I know I don't have to like do anything or be anybody or act any way. I can just like be me for this breather.
And you can kind of rest easy and
for a couple minutes, even if it's a couple minutes.
And it's nice too, that kind of reminds us, if someone does reach out, in this case it was your child, but if anyone reaches out to you and calls you or tells you they want to see you, and just try to hear out what they sound like, what they're looking for, because you could just change that whole night for them, that week for them.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel like someone is there.
Yeah.
And someone does care.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you're scrolling through like your phone list, trying to look for someone to just talk to, and no one picks up, that can be like a downward spiral of the rest of that person's day or night.
If you're in a bad headspace and you're in a bad way, everything makes it worse. Everything makes it worse. And sometimes you just need to like break the cycle. Be reminded of like, what's reality? This is a bad day. This is a bad situation. This was a bad game. This was a bad test. This was a bad day at the job, a bad day at home.
Yeah.
But one bad thing does not equal a bad existence.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need that person or a couple of people to remind you that amidst all the bad, all the hectic, all the crazy, all of whatever's happening, you are still you. All the best things about you are still the best things about you.
So you don't want to lose yourself in misery.
And the bad stuff. Nope.
Speaking of that, we talk about this as adults, and we talk about the world we live in and the mental health and the social stuff and the wars and the viruses and all these different things going on. But I want to know what you guys are our future. Your age group, Gen Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z is our future.
Yes, it is.
This might be a loaded question, so you can take your time to think about it. But how do you see life? How do you see the world? What kind of world are we living in?
I feel like we're very divided. I don't know about the world itself, but definitely the United States. I feel like a lot of social media itself divides people. And I feel like that's the issue why there's so many problems going on, is because it's not the country working together to try and solve these problems. Mm-hmm. It's but there's different groups of people that are all combating at each other with different ideas instead of trying to create a bigger idea. Not a bigger idea, but like work together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That absolutely. We're supposed to be the United States. How does it make you feel? Like, are you worried about your future, or are you excited to make a change? Like, what's the thought? And you're one of the intelligent, you're a leader. You're going to be a leader for the future. The kids that are head on their shoulders, they're for other people, have a good vision. That's the leader. So what do you feel going in, like leading your peers?
I mean, I'm definitely like a type of person that's open for other people's opinions. So like if somebody brings something up to me, I'm willing to try and understand the way they see something versus the way I see something. I feel like the biggest issue is like when people have their mind set on one thing and they'll do pretty much whatever to make that one thing happen. Mm-hmm. And I feel like people not having an open mindset makes things harder.
This is what I mean. I think that this kind of positive thinking of just, let's stop this division and unrest, right? Like, what do you want to do, like, with your career path?
As my major is physical education and coaching, I definitely want to, I then will like teach as I'm older, younger, like groups of kids. And I kind of just would want to, one, develop them as young adults, but also like try and teach them things that I'd learned throughout my life. Obviously kids, as this 18-year-old kid, I don't believe half the stuff my mom tells me she experienced until I experience it. And then she tells me, hey, I've been through this, blah, blah, blah. I can help you. So I kind of just want to be a role model and just be someone there for the people that don't have someone there.
You should be. That's amazing. She's a proud mom right
I'm
now.
a proud mama. He's such a good kid.
Yeah.
He's such a good human being.
He's just an amazing human being.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the people that helped me most growing up, other than like family and like my friends, are the teachers. There's certain teachers in my life that truly like made an impact on how I am as a person, because I spent 8 hours a day in school. So my teachers were basically not family, but right there all the time, every day. So developing a relationship with a teacher that cares about you and wants to see you live a good, successful life really helps.
And there's a lot of teachers who do that, are willing to. So if you're not the fortunate kid who has, the set of parents or even one good parent, you can reach out to your teachers. They want to be there because it's not the easiest job. I mean,
no, especially now.
They do a lot. And everybody has teachers they remember for the rest of their lives.
Everyone.
Every no matter what, you will. So
yes.
Kids can do that. They can reach out to their teachers. And what else do you want to say? Because you seem like you do have other things you'd want to mention. Because everything you're saying is like gold. I feel like hearing it from him is so good. Yeah. And it's good for the other kids and teenagers.
Like if there's something you could say to an incoming college freshman, something maybe you wish that you had known, or some advice that somebody could have given you while you were going through all the stuff you were going through as a freshman. Or advice maybe to a kid whose parents are getting divorced, or advice for a kid who doesn't have a great relationship with their sibling. Or
I can do both.
Do both. Do both.
For going into college, depends on if you're a student athlete or not. Definitely as a student athlete, make sure you get your work done. The hardest thing for me was if I already talked about this with one of my friend's parents who's about to be a D1 wrestler. If you let work build up, it gets really hard and really stressful to try and get that work done on top of sports and everything else. You get overwhelmed a lot. Another thing with coming into college is like girls, just like girls itself. I went into college with a girlfriend, and she went to a school 3 hours away, but she lived with me at home. Not with me, but in the same area at home. And I was spending train money and stuff to go visit her out at her college. And it's just a lot of effort and a lot of things to do. And I feel like if you're not getting that effort back from that person, you definitely not shouldn't, but because it's your own decision, but don't let another person that's not giving you the same effort you're giving them change your mood. Dictate what you're doing.
You're wise beyond your years. That's true. Like whether college or just life. Can you talk more about that? If you're comfortable.
Yeah. I feel like the hardest thing for me was determining whether to stay or go. When we first started dating, it was great. This is a very specific situation.
Yeah, but a lot of people can relate.
I feel like the effort was there. It felt like she was always trying to make things work. And then once we got to college, it was good for a little bit. And then it felt like I was always going there, and I was always spending money to visit her, and I was taking her out to dinner, stuff like that. And she kind of was there.
It's tough. I think there's a couple things. When you go to college, I still remember when I started freshman year of college, and then when I started medical school, all the relationships with the distance started to break up. Even within the same college, there's a couple of people that came together. They broke up because it's just a lot of effort and a lot of new things going on. And if that person doesn't want to stick through the new experience together or the distance experience together, then
you can't do it alone.
You can't. And you should be having a good time meeting new people and enjoying the experience. Plus, you're super busy being on baseball. People have to be fair to you, and this is not just for college, but in life, you need to be in a reciprocal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the girl I'm talking to now, she lives next to my college, so I met her in school. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of dealing with the distance thing again, because I live about an hour and a half away from school. Like, distance isn't an issue. If both people are willing to work and give the same effort, distance won't ever be an issue. Obviously, like, not seeing each other as much can affect things. But in my opinion, it just makes seeing that person, spending more time with that person, more valuable.
That's so true. That's so beautiful. Because people do. Some people just want a relationship around the corner, but it's quality, right? Mm-hmm. If you really care about that person, on your day-to-day, in your routine, you're thinking about them. You can, we have texting now.
Mm-hmm. Phone calls.
There's always little things you can do, sending them things, visits and special surprises, all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So that's true. Yeah, I hope you find happiness with it. But it's good he values himself, too, because like you said, whoever gets him is extremely lucky.
And very lucky.
She should
very
also...
lucky.
I'm sure will be a great girl if she ends up with him. She would have done something good in her life to earn that. She's going to have to get through Molly first.
Yes, she will.
No, these two usually have a pretty good judge on the people I talk to.
Right. So, and it's fair that they care about you.
They usually don't tell me because they don't want to hurt my feelings. Yeah. But then afterwards, because I haven't been with the same person, but afterwards, if we break up, they tell me, oh yeah, this happened. Like, I noticed this. And then I'm like, all right, thanks for telling me.
I guess because you know, too, like, you have to learn it and see it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I never want him to resent me or hold me responsible for an intimate relationship in his life and the way it's going to go. If something were gravely wrong or really, I would certainly talk to him about it. But I trust him. He knows he's the only one who knows how he's feeling.
And he did a good job.
He's a very responsible, thoughtful, mindful young man. I think that unless things are really out of hand, I would do my best to try to be supportive of the person. Listen, nobody wants to be with someone that their mom hates or I don't ever want to make relationships are difficult enough. He doesn't need me to make it more difficult for him.
He shouldn't have to choose.
No. Nope, he shouldn't.
That's such a big stressor, having to...
Yeah, having your family and your significant other, and he doesn't need that. So we do our best to kind of...
Well, I think one thing that helped with, relationships is growing up with a mom and a sister. Mm-hmm. So, my sister has had boyfriends, and I kind of pick up on the things that they do that upset her and what makes her happier. I've noticed little things mean more than, a big grand, I guess. Because if you do something big, it's happiness for 1-2 days. If you constantly do little things over and over, it's happiness over and over again. So
is he for real? Is this a real person?
He is.
That's so amazing.
I know.
You need to teach 40-year-old men.
And you know what the best part about him is? It's totally genuine.
Yeah.
It's completely genuine.
We're sitting here having this conversation and you can feel that. He's talking from his heart.
Yeah.
The girl I'm with now, I already know what her go-to coffee is and her favorite candy and snacks. She came over one night to hang out and I was at because with baseball the last week we were there, the dining hall wasn't open. So I was at a gas station eating just my dinner. And
at the end of
that warms a mom's heart. I was at a gas station getting dinner.
And
they have good stuff like pizza.
Yeah. No, I had a pizza and a chicken sandwich or something out of the little hot spin thing.
If it makes you feel any better, a 40-year-old woman, when I was moving and trying to get all this stuff done, I did a quick stop at, it was Stewart's, but there was a gas station attached to it. And I bought a swirling thingamajig pizza for dinner.
Okay.
So see, we have something in common.
Yeah, she mentioned earlier, because at this point we're only talking for a week. And she mentioned that her favorite candy was Swedish Fish. And when I was checking out, there was a little bag of Swedish Fish underneath the counters. And it was maybe $1.50. And I just grabbed it and put on so when she came over, I was like, hey, got you Swedish Fish.
It's such a little thing, but it's a huge thing. Because
you paid attention.
Thank you. Exactly.
You listened to her. You thought of her. You were out doing something very basic
Getting
and
your
very
dinner.
normal, and you thought about her.
Yeah.
And you put effort into doing something nice, thoughtful, a small gesture that lets her know you were thinking about her in the most normal of things.
Yeah.
I am such a proud mom.
That's amazing. Yeah, is there anything else we should cover? Did you want to talk about?
If you have any advice for kids going through their parents getting divorced?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of an independent person, like on the basis of I don't always need to be around somebody. Like I'm 100% fine, like sitting in my room and like doing my own thing. Most of the time for college, I used to not sit by myself and eat, but like if my friends were busy, I'd like go to the dining hall and eat by myself because I don't mind doing things alone. So I feel like the best thing to do is develop like a sense of self-care, if that's the wording for it.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of times they were fighting and I would just have to do my own thing. Like I can't always be downstairs and talking with them and like doing my thing. So I would either hang out with friends or like go find something to do, like go fishing and like just let them sort out their issues. And it's not, obviously, as a kid going through like seeing your parents who've always been together is hard. But if you can like find things to take your mind off it, it helps.
I think through a divorce, what I always tried to tell Jack and Molly was this feels like it's your whole life, but something bad that happened between your mom and dad isn't going to define your whole life. It's something bad that's happening right now. What defines your life? You're not always going to feel like this horrible thing is your whole life. Like you are going to get to a point where you understand that you are your own person and your life isn't about your mom and dad's divorce. Your life is about the people you meet, the education you're getting, the relationship you form. You get to have your mom and your dad just not together. But this awful thing that's happening, there will be an endpoint. And this isn't always going to be the dominant, prominent role. It's tough. It's tough for parents to navigate divorce. It's tough for kids to navigate divorce. It's a really, really hard situation.
It is. It's hard because there's negativity.
Yes.
With the fighting, like Jack mentioned, and then the knowing this home you have is going to be divided and how's that going to look. Mm-hmm. And the fact that a lot of kids and youngsters are short-sighted.
Right.
By the time you get to be 40, you've seen how life keeps progressing, how it's going to progress. But when you're a teenager, that current life is your life. For most kids, like Jack understands there's a future, there's life, there's goals, there's self. Most teenagers, there's the peer relationship and there's the present day and there's everything in their comfort zone. Then they have like the self-blame. You know, a lot of kids blame themselves.
Well, I think too, a lot of kids wonder, which is totally what happens to me. Mm-hmm. And no matter how old they are, you still have two parents that don't get along or don't necessarily get along. And no matter how hard you try, you're the kid, you're kind of stuck. And it's almost impossible to find a way to not do that. It's just an ugly, nasty dynamic. I think too, parents need to understand it's not just happening to you. My divorce didn't just happen to me. Mm-hmm. My divorce happened to my kids.
Yeah.
They lost their parents being together. They lost their house. They lost what they thought their life would look like. They lost the same exact things that I did. So it's not just about you. I've tried to tell them this isn't forever and your life will look like way bigger things than your mom and dad getting divorced.
It's hard to see if you don't want the fighting parents. I mean, the best case scenario is two parents that get along great.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is two parents that don't get along great.
Yeah.
Then there's everything in between.
Yes.
Well, I think the best thing for me is that I have a lot of hobbies. So like I skateboard, I golf, I fish, I play airsoft, baseball. Like there's so many things that I can do with either or parent. One thing that they both did that really helped me is they both reassured me, like separately. Like I don't think they talked about it because they were fighting, but both of them said to me, hey, we're getting a divorce, but this doesn't change our relationship. Mm-hmm. I'm always going to be your mom. I'm always going to be your dad. Mm-hmm. We can still do things. Mm-hmm. So me and my dad still go out golfing. Like we still go play airsoft. We go bowling. There's things that we do that still make it feel like a parent-child relationship.
Yeah.
And then there's things with my mom where they can both teach me different things. Like my dad teaches me stuff with cars and with learning how to do stuff around the house. My mom helps me with stuff inside the house, treating people, like treating girls, relationships, like how
such huge, important life lessons.
Like that.
She's teaching you life. She's teaching how to be a young man.
Try. So when Jack was, I believe it was a sophomore, I got a phone call from the principal, and he said, I'm just calling about your son because we have this new system called a positive referral. And if a staff member sees something great happen, they let us know about it, and we bring it to kids' attention to start like just shedding light on good behavior rather than always talking about poor behavior.
Yeah.
And he said, your son was in the cafeteria today, and a cafeteria aide witnessed something that your son did not know about. And there was a child who was challenged, and a couple of kids took his lunch away from him and threw it in the garbage. And Jack saw it happen, and he got up in the lunch line with this boy and bought him a lunch, because his lunch got thrown away.
How old was he again?
He was a sophomore in high school, so he was 15 years old.
Like the worst age.
The worst age ever.
Yeah.
And he bought this boy a lunch and sat down at a table with him and had lunch because the boy was getting bullied. And it is probably, as a mom, the best phone call you can ever get. I think one of the very exceptional things about Jack is that even if he's cared about what other people thought, it doesn't come across that way. You know, a lot of kids may think it's weird to like give your mom a hug or a kiss or be close with your mom or your sister or whatever. And I am certain, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that there have been times, and I know it because Molly's gotten picked on for being close with her mom and close with her brother.
That is so sad. I mean, like sad and like pathetic.
It is. It is as an adult.
Yeah.
But at 15, 16, 17, for sure, she would come home and be really upset because she and Jack were close enough. You know, I can remember him being a little kid, maybe 10 or 11 years old, and his football team lost this championship game. And I was waiting for him as he walked off the field, and the whole team is in tears. And I'm waiting to like hold him. And he walked right by me and like hugged his sister, and she consoled him. And I couldn't believe that it happened. But they definitely looked to each other a lot. She would come home and she was really getting picked on about it. She's definitely more open with me about what's going on with her, and Jack tends to not tell me quite as much. I'm certain that he's gotten picked on about being close with his mom or his sister, and he's never shown it. He's never cared. I can remember a time when he was playing a baseball game up in Northville, and I rushed out of work to get up there, and I was probably 30 minutes late to the game, and I got there and he came out of the dugout to hug me and, you know, was happy that his mom was there. He has this awesome ability, no matter what people are saying. And I think maybe his attitude towards it and his ability to kind of block it out or push through or, you know, just keep saying, I don't care. She's my mom. She's my sister. At some point, either like the talk dies down, the picking dies down, or he truly has a mindset of, I really don't care. It's my family.
When you don't respond and you don't care, things do tend to
die down a little bit.
Have you noticed?
I think his ability to feel that way, and just no matter how big or small his mindset is to not care what other people think, that is the kind of mindset that's able to drive him to walk up to a kid who's getting bullied and picked on and say, forget everybody else. This poor kid needs his lunch. And get him lunch and sit with him and just have a certain amount of confidence and be able to do that. It's a big deal.
What made you do that?
I saw it happen and I was like, huh, that sucks. And then I just walked over and I got him a lunch.
And then you sat with him too.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of at the end of lunch, so it was like after everybody like finished eating. There's usually like a line that sat at the door, and I just sat with him until he finished eating, and then I left with everybody else. But
that's so amazing.
It is amazing.
Did the kids who threw away his lunch see that or react in any way?
I don't really know.
You didn't even pay attention. You didn't care because you didn't do it. You did it because
you felt bad for this boy.
The boy needed to eat. It was plain and simple to him.
Yeah.
It's obvious. this kid is going to be hungry. He needs to eat. That's it.
And our high school did give free lunches. My lunch that I ate was free. And I think it was like maybe $1 extra. So it wasn't like a burden on me to try and help him. It was kind of just,
again, a little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad that there's kids that would clearly, the more stable, Jack's the one who's going to go places, right? Those other kids who did that horrible thing to another person, they're broken. They're people that's like almost a cry for help. I'm a horrible enough person to, right. Yeah. So something's going on there with them. They want to put that negativity out there to someone else and punish them for their life being the way it is.
And it's really hard to be a kid because you truly cannot see outside what you're living right now. Everything feels like it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
You can be the most popular kid in high school, and the minute you get to college, you are a little fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
And that game is over.
Yeah.
And who you are as a person determines your success now, starting like that as an adult. Jack has always just had an ability to kind of like just really like rise above the stuff.
Now you're in college. Now that incident that happened, that kid who you helped will remember somebody's there for him. Mm-hmm. The fact that you did that just adds to all the great things you're doing to make you a better, stronger person. And those two kids, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right?
But that boy that got that lunch will never forget him.
No. And that's just one of the lives you touched or maybe even changed.
Well, I think what helped me like develop the confidence to like do what I feel is right, not worry about what other people think, is really just sports. Freshman year, I was on the JV team and I played a few games and I got bumped up to varsity. And that kind of like built my confidence to like believe that I'm, like me, myself is like good enough to do things that other people either can't or they're able to, but they're too scared to. So if somebody were to like say something to me about baseball or sports or just me and myself, I wouldn't see it as they're jealous of me, but I'd see it as I'm doing my thing. You can do yours. If you want to make fun of me for, like, say I had a bad game and somebody came up to me and said, "Wow, you're a freshman on varsity. I thought you were supposed to be good." You know, I'd kind of just, yeah, I'm a freshman on varsity. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Keep the positive spin.
So gain that confidence, keep doing the good things. So other like kids out there, whether it's sports or whatever you're good at, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up with just last words on this from Jack. And what final words or advice would you just give to your peers on just how to make the best of this world? How do you make the best of things?
Try not to let things you can't control dictate how you feel, and then let the things that you can control do your best at them. So like, say it's a divorce. You can't control that your parents are splitting up. Control what you can. Go do something. Get your mind off it. Have fun.